Hi, I'm Anthony Originello, CEO of the Chartered Professionals in Human Resources for BC and Yukon. We represent more than 8,000 members, and as the organization dedicated to advancing the HR profession through education, advocacy, awareness, professional development, as well as our recognized and impactful CPHR designation, we are proud to be a sponsor of this show. We have been the voice of the HR profession since 1942. Learn more about us at cphrbc.ca.
In this episode of Careers That Matter, I'm joined by Peter Milobar, who is running as a candidate for the leadership of the Conservative Party of BC. Peter, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So that's your main job right now. You are a candidate.
I'm a candidate. I'm still an MLA. I still do some constituency work, mainly virtually, and I have a great staff back home. But you kind of juggle both. And then I'm also our finance critic still, so I'm still dealing with the budget and that part of the job as well. So busy times.
Well, let's start with the job of candidate. What does it look like? People, I don't think they have any idea the volume of time and energy that goes into it and the team that you need to have to make that happen.
Yeah, it's actually been an eye-opener for me, I'm not going to lie. So I've ran in 8 general elections and successful in all 8. But the first campaign I ran in for city council, my campaign team was myself and my wife, and she picked up a book on how to get publicity or campaign for dummies. It was literally one of those. And we figured out how to type up a press release and send that off to media locally and things. And then each election you kind of get a bigger team. I ran for mayor, I have a slightly bigger team, ran for re-election, even bigger team, run in the provincial election of 2017. That takes it to a whole new level. And then this is just a completely different level because it is province-wide. You're trying to reach 93 ridings and the size of team I need and the expertise I need is just that much more elevated.
So do they report to you directly, or do you have to have a campaign manager that you're in constant communication with, and the campaign manager then runs the team?
Yeah, it's kind of, my operational style is a little of both. So, we have defined roles, but I certainly interact with all the people within the campaign, but there's a lot. So yeah, you need that campaign manager. And obviously I can't spend all day dealing with campaign, administration type things to make sure that I'm focused in on doing, podcasts and public speaking events and things of that nature. So it's kind of that mesh, but yeah, you definitely need much more of that broader province-wide. It's like a microcosm, I guess, of what would happen in a general election provincially as well.
Well, you need, I guess, paid team members, and do you also need to be able to recruit volunteers?
Absolutely. You couldn't afford to do this any other way. And I've been blessed. I have a team of very experienced so-called hired guns, but almost to a person. They've all indicated they truly believe I'm the right person to do the job. They do this in their daily lives. They've worked on multiple campaigns across the country, and they're all giving me a pretty good deal in terms of their overall rate. So they're kind of a combination of paid / volunteering at the same time, because they do want to see me ultimately win the leadership and succeed to become the premier. So that's been very heartwarming for me to see that. I know other campaigns haven't been quite as fortunate, but that's, we all have strengths and weaknesses, what we bring to this table. But the volunteer core is the vast majority of people are volunteer, and the skill sets that we have within those people are quite phenomenal in terms of, they independently, I think, maybe don't realize just how skilled they are. They're all veterans of many, many campaigns, but you need people all over this province if you're serious about trying to win the leadership.
Are you fundraiser in chief as well? Because to put together a campaign, quite a bit of money. I mean, it starts with a $100,000 fee just to qualify as a leadership candidate. How much of your time is dedicated to having to raise funding?
Yeah, it's a little of both. It's definitely something candidates have to do, right? So again, no great state secrets here. It doesn't matter what political stripe. There's donors that you need to contact and that have maybe broader networks that would be able to help you on that. And then there's still the just interconnection. So the week I toured before the legislature started to sit, I did 20 cities in 7 days, and once or twice a day I would hold 2-hour just stand in the front of the room and let open floor, any question, all questions for 2 hours, right? Those weren't fundraisers. Those were just connecting with party members and investing time in them. Some will buy memberships. Most actually indicated they would. Some will give you a donation as well as buy a membership for existing members. And so it's really about spreading the word, and my campaign's doing it how we play to my strengths, and other campaigns are going to do things differently, maybe more social media focus versus stand on the ground and basically do a kind of a 2-hour bear pit with any and all questions getting thrown your way.
Well, as we record this message, you got another job. You're still the finance critic, and there's a budget coming out next week. How do you then also turn your attention to that work?
Yeah, I'm a pretty quick study. I think most people would say that about me, and so I've been called a lot of things in my life, but dumb and slow are not two of them. And so I will I know how to kind of separate the two roles out. I know to speak to the budget as if I'm the critic, because I am, on behalf of the caucus, and not be forging my own personal platform policy issues into those responses. Because the budget is really about dissecting what the government is or isn't doing within their budget. It's not about what I would do instead. And I have had to straddle that line before. When I was the mayor of Kamloops, I was still the mayor right up until writ period, and then I took a leave of absence. But leading up to that, I would go to community events and speak, and everyone knew I would be the candidate. But I always made sure I was speaking as the mayor about a civic function and didn't stitch in what was happening provincially or anything like that. So I'm pretty used to keeping those two factions separate, and I will again. And really, it's just about reading the budget. A budget lockup for opposition is very compressed. We don't get the budget ahead of time. No. So I get put in a room a couple hours before the minister speaks. We have just a couple of my staff and a couple of MLA colleagues in that room. No government staff are there, no explanation, no anything. You're just there to try to read the budget and turn around and in a couple hours time, do a half-hour speech in response to pushback against what the minister has just put out, and make sure that it lands with what economists 4 days later will, with great detail, dissect the budget, and you hope that you align with what they're saying. Thankfully for me, I've done 2 or 3 of these budgets now, 3 I think, and I've always aligned with what those economists have said. So again, I'm confident that I'll continue down that path this year.
So with these 2 responsibilities right now, how many hours a week are you working?
It's a lot. It's a lot of hours, but you know what? I'm running to be ultimately the premier of this province, and last I checked, they work a lot too. And so, it's something that you accept and you take on. I've always worked long hours in my life. I've worked pretty much my whole life. Grew up in a family business with it was all hands on deck in the 80s when interest rates skyrocketed. So I've always worked long hours. My family's used to it. My kids are all growing. And so, it's just par for the course.
So let's go back. Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in Kamloops, went to elementary school in Kamloops, junior high in Kamloops. I left right after high school for a short stint playing a bit of junior hockey around Nanaimo and Penticton, but worked my way back to Kamloops shortly after that, and met my wife, and we started a family and kept working in the family business. So
that means that when you graduated from high school, you weren't going, I can see myself one day running for the leadership of the Conservative Party of BC and ultimately becoming premier. Was that on your radar when you were exiting high school?
No, although there was a few teammates of mine and myself, we were laughing one night, and I had kind of forgotten about it, and then one of them mentioned it to me when I became the mayor, that we were all kind of joking around and saying what we were going to do when we grow up, and I had said mayor, and another guy had said he was going to be an accountant, and another guy had said he was going to be a doctor, and the last one said he was going to be an actor, and he's turned out to be one of the fairly well-known Canadian actor. And so we all actually wound up doing what we said in that when we were 16, 17 years old, which is a little bit strange, because I don't think anyone was truly, we were all just being smartasses, frankly, and next thing you know, it all kind of came to be. So it must have been subliminally in the back of my mind.
Must have been. You said that you left high school, went off and played some junior hockey.
Yeah.
Come back to Kamloops. What then did you do to start to establish your working career off the ice?
Yeah, so again, we had a family hotel, so liquor store, pub, full service hotel, so banquet facilities, all of that, as well as an off-site nightclub. And so really just ingrained back into the family business. Worked and shared the same office space with my mom for a better part of 15 years. So that was an experience, and we still get along. So there you go. Yeah, so it was really, it didn't matter what was needed to be done or how, you just were expected to do it, right? Sick days weren't optional, and I've been a night audit, I've been done maintenance, I've done housekeeping, I've been a short order cook, I've been management, I've been sweeping the parking lot when I was 9 years old. So I've done it all, and really just kept working through that, and was providing a good life for my wife and my kids, and I said even when I ran in 2002 for city council. I'm in the bar, restaurant, hotel industry. You could literally do that in any city in the world. And so I chose to stay in Kamloops, and I chose to keep doing that in Kamloops and raise my family there. And I'm fortunate all my kids still live in Kamloops. I'm one of the rare ones.
So did you continue to work in the hotel when you were on council?
Yeah, I was still even hauling luggage until I was about 35. So I was a good term and a half in on city council before I stopped hauling the luggage for the bus tours. I didn't spend a day in Expo 86 because I was 16 years old and bus tours were rolling, and there was a lot of, frankly, very good money to be made that summer as a teenager. So again, that's always just been how I do things, and it's the work ethic that's been instilled in me going back. I never really knew my grandfather, but he was 67 and still a pick and shovel underground coal miner, right? And I came over from the old country when he was like a young teenager, 12 or 13 years old. From that, my dad was one of the most respected gastroenterologists in North America. Uncle was an accountant, aunts are teachers, all from that one grandfather, right? And now here I am, contemplating running to be premier, and I've got cousins and siblings and stuff that have all done very well as well. So you can actually see what happens with, that was the hard work that was always instilled in me, but I've also seen what happens and can happen quickly generationally if you allow a little bit of success from that hard work to pay off, and how it can springboard the next generation and the next generation.
So if you talked about being an introvert and you think about yourself, what would you say is one of the internal qualities that you have come to realize that you possess that has played a role in your success in life?
I think it's twofold. I think it's I don't take myself too seriously, and I work really hard, but it doesn't always come across as working hard. But I'm always thinking, I'm always contemplating, and I'm willing to put in the effort. And so, I didn't start playing hockey till I was 10 years old. I was an ankle skater. I was horrible. And by the time I was 14, I'd made our AAA team, Bantam, which back then was true Bantam AAA. It wasn't, all these travel teams and everything else. And that was a team of people that had been together since they were basically 6 years old. And I finally made that team. So 10 years old to 14 years old, ankle skater to highest level of hockey. And then by 15, I was the captain of that team. And so, I've always, we won every tournament that year. We won provincials. We had great success. So I've always been able to layer that hard work and kind of self-deprecating side of myself. And I think that's always just conveyed itself to groups of people that are high achievers in of their own right to get behind me. So I don't know. That's probably the two areas, yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us an insight into your current work and your career path in getting there.
Yeah, thank you.